Hello, and welcome to the 741 channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today I'm going to do a video exclusively for the Monday Night Ham Radio series. In particular, this video is going to be sort of a workbench and shack tour. Now, the idea for this theme night was kind of dreamed up by Kyle, AA0Z, and at first I wasn't going to participate. I felt, I don't really have the best shack, and my workbench is nothing to write home about either. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought it might be a good idea to kind of show off what I have here and maybe get some ideas from you guys as to how I can improve it. But anyway, let's do a tour. I'll start off with my workbench first. Now, the bench itself is an old steel desk that my brother-in-law got for me back when I was like 16 or 17. This thing could probably survive a nuclear blast. It was originally white. At one point, I painted it black, and it probably could use a new coat of paint. Anyway, the work surface has an anti-static mat on it that I got from a place I used to work. They were replacing all the static mats, so I took this one home. I don't have the warning system, I just have the anti-static mat. Figured it was better than nothing. Back here behind the desk, I have my soldering station. That's an Xtronic 4000 made in China from Amazon. Seems to work okay for my needs. I know it's not quite as good as a Hakko or a Weller, but again, for a Hakko like me, it works just fine. Next to it, I have a Variac that my father-in-law obtained somewhere along the line and decided he didn't want, so he let me have it. And I use that occasionally with my old tube equipment. If I haven't used it for a while, I'll plug it into the Variac and kind of bring the voltage up slowly over time so that I don't blow up any caps. Next to that, I have a 12 amp power supply that I use for powering radios that I work on the bench here. And then over here on this shelf, I have my Yaesu FRG 7700, and I use it more as a test receiver than anything else now. If I'm working on a transmitter here and I want to hear what it sounds like, tune it to the frequency. I don't have an antenna on it, but it's usually close enough to be able to pick up, whatever I'm transmitting, and I can kind of hear it. Above that is a frequency counter. I got that from one of the guys in my radio club. I brought a bunch of those into a club meeting, and I think we all got one. Above that is the transverter for my FRG 7700. Over here are some external speakers that I can use if I need to hook a speaker up to something I'm working on. I have my homemade dummy load up there. You may have saw a video on that a couple of months ago. I'm not sure what's in this box. I think it's some kind of satellite finder or something. My father-in-law brought it over here and I haven't checked it out yet. Below that is a fluke meter. I think I got that along with the frequency counter from the guy in my radio club. Then below that is a leader 40 megahertz oscilloscope. I really don't use that too often. I got that at a Hamfest, I think, for $40. But every now and then it comes in handy if I'm tracing a signal or something like that. And then back under here, this is where things start to get messy and ugly. You can see I've got an extension cord just dangling here that I use to plug stuff in when I need to plug things in. I've got a box full of wires and stuff over there. Actually, there's 3 boxes hiding back over here. At least the wires are in a box. I'll say that for myself. Over here is my toolbox, and everything is just... My toolbox in the garage is much more organized. It's much bigger. I need a new, bigger toolbox for this area. Just haven't gotten around to getting one yet. And then more tools just jammed in there. I just dig around until I find what I need. I have a scale here. I was actually using that more for weighing Pinewood Derby cars than anything else. This bookshelf that you see here, I've actually had this my whole life. My father built this at some point before I was born, and as far as I can remember, it's always been in my room somewhere. You can see right now I'm using it to hold my tools and various chemicals, Windex, isopropyl, deoxit, whatever. Now this desk is kind of nice. It's got these pull-out panels that I can use for stuff. Sometimes I'll put my camera tripod on here when I'm filming stuff, so that comes in handy. In this drawer, I've got a rat's nest of test leads, a set of calipers here, and an empty spot. I gotta put something in there. Let's see, down here I've got a big box of microphones. So in this box I've got all kinds of microphones for all different radios I own, and probably some I've thrown away or sold. I don't even know. And then that over there I think is the programming cable for my FT2900. Okay, over here in the top drawer I've got various items. Oh, wow. I didn't even know these were in here. These are left over from Christmas, and it's September now. Goes to show you how much I go in here. Shoelaces, rulers, different tools or glues, things like that. You can see it's super organized. Oh, there's my 2-meter machinist special antenna. I've gotten this out of here a couple of times, and I didn't even see those. That's interesting. Anyway, I got another slide-out panel here. Let's see, this drawer, I've got all my soldering stuff here. This doesn't belong in there. This is my component tester. I got a couple of various meters, magnifying glasses, soldering gun. That one was my dad's. That one I got at a tag sale. You can see everything's just kind of thrown in here. Let's see. Oh, I got an empty space there. What is this? An X-Acto knife. I got some zip ties, shrink tubing, and various kinds of tape back there. Last up in the bottom, I've got a hot glue gun, some jumper cables. Here's my antenna analyzer. Actually, I think this goes here. I'll put that where it belongs. And then, let's see, this is an Arduino kit that I never did anything with. I'm going to have to dig that out and play around with it. And then I think I've got some service manuals here, factory service manuals, and I guess a set of rabbit ears. You never know. And then up here, I've got a couple of spare monitors. I've got a laptop here that I need to do something with someday. I put Linux on here. I actually broke the screen. This thing was perfect. I ended up leaning on it and I cracked the screen. The computer still works. I just have to use it with one of those monitors. And then here, I've got some magnets that I made. These are little circuit boards that I designed up and had made in China for sort of like business cards. But I've given a few of these away as sort of channel tchotchke things. I don't know. I've got a few left. Let me know if you want one. Oh yeah, and I can't forget the Screaming Skull of Doom. My buddy Scott gave me. This is a shift knob. I used to have it in my old Dodge truck. Okay, so over here to the left of the bench is sort of the projects in queue, so to speak. These two tuners need some work. I've got a 49er kit here that I started at one point. You can see I got real far here, didn't I? I need to work on that again at some point. And then a couple of projects back here. I've got a 6-meter amplifier. I made a video about that a while back. Got a balun over there ready to go for my HF antenna. I want to rebuild that at some point. This DX440, I just fixed it, and you may have seen the video that I just released about it. So this is actually working now. Same thing with those radios. There's absolutely no problem with those two radios. They're just there because they're there. This microphone is fine. I'm not sure why it's here. It's actually a CB microphone, but I've used it on various radios, both CB and ham, over the years, and it seems okay. Maybe it needs a coat of paint. I don't know. Let's see. Next up here are these Drakes. Now, I got those back in 2003 when I upgraded to General, and I used to use them a fair amount. I may dig them out this winter and just fire them up and see if they still work, but I'm not going to take them apart or do any restoration work on them until, like I said, I can really devote my mental energy to them. Up there is my Yaesu FT891. I'm not sure why it's there. I don't usually keep it here. This is usually in my Go box, which is down there under the bench. Over here is my Kenwood TS440, and the radio works. I can tune around, I can hear stuff. I believe it transmits too. The problem is that it's all out of sync. It needs to be aligned because the radio is not on the frequency that the display says it is. So I've got to get the service manual and go through that. Again, that's a project for when I have some mental bandwidth to apply to it. Next to that is my Kenwood TS520. That radio works great except for the VFO. It's got some dead spots in it. If you kind of fool around with it and tune with it for a while, it seems to kind of come out of it and work okay. So for now, I've just been using it that way. Let's see. Up top is my MFJ tuner. I haven't had that very long. I bought that from one of the local guys who was selling it. Seems to work pretty good. Below that is one of my most recent radio acquisition, a CB radio. I thought it was a good idea to have one in the shack. I like having them for various reasons. I kind of like listening to the CB guys, but they're also good for emergencies and that kind of a thing. Below that is my Elecraft K3. I actually won that at a ham fest. I think it was 2013, the Near Fest in Deerfield, New Hampshire. I won the door prize. I use it primarily on 6 meters, either when the band opens up or with the local guys. There's sort of a rag chew group that gets on 6 meters. I do once in a while put it on HF and will run FT8 on this radio too. Over next to the L-Craft is my ICOM 746 Pro. It's been a good radio. I had to fix it a couple of times. I've made some videos about that actually. I had to fix the backlight, I had to fix the speaker jack, and when I first got it, it had the transmit problem. I had to send it back, and it was repaired under warranty. Above that is my Radio Shack Pro 2006 scanner. Use that to monitor the public service bands, VHF and UHF. And then next to that is my Yaesu FT2900. That's a 2-meter only radio. Up here are my SDR Play radios. I need to play with these a little bit more. I haven't really been giving them any love lately, but these are great radios. I have a lot of fun using them. And then down below the radio bench, you can see I've got my 25 amp power supply and some speakers that are connected up to the ICOM, the L-Craft, and the Yaesu. And then you can see I'm kind of slacking here. I've got some empty space that I need to fill up. Okay, one thing I'll mention about the benches, I built these out of plans I found in a book. They're made out of 2x4s, MDF, and kind of a replaceable Luan top. This radio shelf was all built from scrap wood. My father-in-law was really big into trains for a while, but when he sold his house, he had to tear up his train layout, and this wood came from his train layout. I cut it up and made this makeshift shelf out of it, but it seems to do the job for now. Someday I'd really like to make a better shelf that extends all the way down here. And then over here is my main computer area. You can see this is the computer I use to do all my video editing and internet surfing and that kind of a thing. Now I just use a pretty modest streaming setup when I do the occasional live stream. There's my microphone. I got that from Amazon, and I'm just using a Logitech 920 webcam there. I'm not big into the live streams, so I don't have a fancy setup for that. Back there is my bulletin board. I got a few things on there, QSL cards and stickers from other YouTubers and a couple of maps, as you can see. Some of my wife's artwork there too. And then over here on the left is my work computer. Now, ever since C19 started, I've been working pretty much from home. I go into the office once in a while, but most of the time I'm home. I've got this set up so that I can use it on these two monitors. When I'm not using it, the two monitors default over to my home computer. Okay, so that's my contribution to Workbench and Shack Tour night for Monday Night Ham Radio. If this were your shack and workbench, what would you do to improve it? Pretty high on my priority list is to get this tool storage figured out so that I have more room for those tools. Make sure you check out all my fellow ham radio YouTubers if you haven't already. There's a link in the description below that will take you to a website where you can find information about all of the gang. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave a comment or subscribe, feel free to do that as well. If you'd like to support my channel in another way, I now have a t-shirt available that you can buy at the link below, or you can check out my Amazon store, which is also linked below. Thanks